Greetings, Broncos country. This is Dan Davis, the Skipper Dude, with today's Footbologist Thought of the Day. So this past weekend, Cecil Lammey from 104.3 The Fan had some extremely interesting speculation that I wanted to explore in today's MiniPod. Lammey sent out a tweet last Friday night that said the following: the Cardinals want to re-sign Kenyon Drake, but David Johnson's contract complicates things. Could Arizona trade Johnson and a pick, say the second, just to get rid of that cap hit, Osweiler type like deal? Some think it's possible. Would that team be the Broncos? I say no, but we shall see. Now, I'm not a capologist, but I took a look at David Johnson's contract, and a second rounder seems pretty extreme, but Cecil's concept makes some sense. By trading for David Johnson, the Broncos would be taking on a $10.2 million guaranteed salary, plus another $1 million or so in roster bonuses, but they'd be saving the Cardinals about $8 million in cap space. David Johnson at this point in his career is not going to provide the Broncos with $11 million in value, but that's not the question. The question is whether David Johnson and a draft pick of a so far unknown round may provide $11 million in value for the Broncos, and it's an interesting question. Now, we know that the Broncos, after they cut Joe Flacco, are going to have something like $80 million in cap space, and if the owners and players can agree on a CBA this offseason, that may even go up to something more like $90 million, as the owners are proposing a bump as a concession to the players. And we also know that there really aren't more than just a couple of mega contracts available on the market this year. The Broncos are set at quarterback, so certainly Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers are off the table. Chris Jones is off the market, and I'm of the belief that cornerbacks Byron Jones and Darius Slay are going to get overpaid to a degree to which Elway is just not going to want to compete. Nor is Vic Fangio going to want to overpay for elite talent at a position, cornerback, that is not a keystone. And we also know that Elway and Fangio don't necessarily want to go full Green Bay Packers, but they want to build their core nucleus through the draft and use free agency just to fill holes. Might it make sense then to burn some of that $80 million in cap space in order to relieve a cap-strapped team like the Vikings or the Cowboys or the Rams, or dare I say the Chiefs, to take on an expensive guaranteed contract, perhaps get a little bit of productivity in return, but more importantly, get a meaningful draft pick in return? Cecil Lammey mentioned Brock Osweiler as a benchmark, so let's look back at that turn of events. In early 2017, the Texans figured out that they made a huge mistake in giving Osweiler a big contract to be their franchise quarterback, and were looking just to get out of that contract. The Texans were actually looking to pursue Tony Romo at the time, if you can believe that, but they traded their mid-second round pick, I think it was number 52 overall, to the Browns, and the teams also traded some future lower picks. The Browns turned around and cut Osweiler and ended up eating $16 million in cap space for the 2017 season. And I think the consensus really is that the deal was somewhat of a winner for both teams, because it ended up helping to pave the way in Houston for Deshaun Watson. Now, personally, I like this idea where Elway is in the role of the Cleveland Browns in the Osweiler scenario. And I suppose I may be biased after the last two drafts, but if you look at the Broncos' second-round picks the past 2 years, Cortland Sutton, Dalton Reisner, and Drew Lock, I would be all about rolling the dice on another second-round pick or two this year. So I'm not sure that you're going to have an opportunity quite as perfect as Brock Osweiler, but really it might make some sense for the right team in the right circumstance. Now, let's look at a super interesting scenario, and one that I know Kevin Gillikin is going to like a ton, and that is Jared Goff with the Rams. We know Stan Kroenke is looking to make a splash in the sports-saturated LA market, as he always is, and what better headlining splash could he make this offseason than signing Tom Brady to a short-term contract and taking aim on another Super Bowl appearance? But there's absolutely no way he can fit a Brady salary in with Jared Goff's abomination of a mega contract. So, into the Denver Broncos. Elway offers to take Goff's, holy cow, $31 million guaranteed salary in 2020, effectively torches most of the Broncos' cap money, but he sets himself up for a haul of draft picks. If you base the market value of eating the $31 million guaranteed to Jared Goff on the 2017 Brock Osweiler trade, then you're probably talking about a low first-round pick. Problem is, the Rams have already traded their 2020 and 2021 first-round picks to Jacksonville for Jalen Ramsey. So they'd either have to come up with a slew of day 2 picks, which may very well play right into Elway's and Fangio's plans, or offer up a promising player, maybe like a Cooper Kupp, on his rookie contract. Now, embarrassing as all get out for the Rams and Goff this would be, of course, but if it puts Stan Kroenke back on the front page of the sports section in LA, then I mean, who knows, right? But if you look at a team like the Colts and Jacoby Brissett as another example, should the Colts decide to sign Phillip Rivers, which is the rumor, and that's the type of situation you're looking to exploit. Although in this particular situation, the Colts, as usual, are loaded with cap space. They don't need to make an emergency move. So this particular situation is not a good example, but it's that type of situation. For a team that is paying a quarterback legitimate starting money now, and they're looking to grab Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers for a quick short-term Super Bowl run, or perhaps a team that falls in love with a young quarterback in the draft and are willing to pay to unload a big contract of a Nick Foles or a Matthew Stafford or an Alex Smith or a Mitchell Trubisky, this might be a fantastic opportunity for the Broncos to build draft capital and take care of their need for a backup quarterback. With NFL quarterback these days making just stupid amounts of money, oftentimes before they've really proven themselves as a long-term franchise-defining asset, mistakes are going to be made and teams are going to get enamored by fancy new toys like Tua or Jordan Love or Jake Fromm or Jalen Hurts. If you're John Elway and you're sitting on a pile of cash, why not dangle that pile of cash out there for a team that's considering a change of quarterback and needing to unload a big contract? I'm all for it if the price is right. And I think that combined with Elway's success in nailing the rookie draft the past 2 seasons, that might just be the ticket to helping the Broncos establish some long-term excellence and fulfill the Elway and Fangio vision for returning the Broncos to dominance in the AFC. Guys, I'm out. Go Broncos.